The Queer Devil Worshippers for a Better Future is formally recognized by UMM as an official student group, and its constitution was submitted to the University of Minnesota Morris Student Affairs Committee for approval. It appears the group's pending application was approved by the university since the group is now listed on the schools, clubs, and organizations page. What did I tell you about the university? It is a temple of devil worship, whether it is explicit or not. And here are people being honest about it. And that'll tie into with what I'm going to say after I finish this article. According to a copy of the group's constitution, all members must recite the infernal oath. As part of the oath, members must oppose capitalism as a form of oppression. All members must actively oppose all forms of oppression, including but not limited to homophobia, transphobia, sexism, racism, ableism, capitalism, and all that spawns from such treacherous lechery. And I'm also going to talk about evil later. I got a question about evil. Now keep in mind, this is what people consider evil. Being opposed to sin. A sinful identity. Sinful actions, being opposed to things that are objectively wrong. The opposition to wrong, evil, bad, is homophobic, racist, transphobic. This is what man considers evil. Evil to our decaying civilization, society, culture. Opposing wrongdoing, that's evil. It's up is down, down is up. You already know the story. I don't have to elaborate on it too much. But continuing, according to the group's publication, it meets weekly on campus in a space provided by the university. Fashion tips, blah blah blah. Okay, that's just more of their zine. Oh, that's the end of it. Now, these people are telling you the truth, what they value, who they worship, what they worship. They value worldly things and they take it to its extreme. They say Satan is the ruler of this earth and we like the earth better than we like God. So they tell you this and you're like, no, they're being ironic. No, they're not. What is it about declining races and civilization, denying what is in front of them? Denying very basic truth. They say they're queer devil worshippers. Who am I to say that they're not worshiping the devil? I mean, all their mission statement falls right in line with devil worship. Now, I'm going to read this to you. I'm going to read this Wikipedia article of an Orthodox Jewish rabbi. His name was Menachem Schneerson. Okay, Menachem Schneerson, and we're going to go to his apparent messianic qualities, what people believed him to be. Schneerson was criticized for his passion and desire to raise awareness of the coming Messiah. Detractors criticized a children's song with the words, "We want the Messiah now, we don't want to wait," that Schneerson commended. During his life, his admirers hoped that he would be revealed as the Messiah. Admirers pointed to traditional Jewish theology, which teaches that in every generation there is one person who is worthy of being the Messiah. And if God deems the time right, he will be revealed by God as such. Shabbat followers also pointed to a tradition that in every generation there is one person who is considered the Messiah of the generation. Schneerson supporters have claimed that many Jews felt that if there was indeed a person worthy of such stature, it was Schneerson. Although Schneerson constantly objected to any talk that he could be the Messiah, this notion sparked controversy, particularly among those who were unfamiliar with these traditional teachings. Since Schneerson's passing, the Messianic movement has largely shrunk, although many followers still believe him to be the Messiah. Now look, this guy said, no, I'm not the Messiah. I'm not the Messiah. I'm not the Messiah. People are saying, his fellow Jews like, yeah, you are. You're the Messiah. And I've seen clips from Brother Nathaniel videos of news stories, people saying like, yeah, he's the guy. He's the Messiah. And they waited around his grave for him to resurrect, and it's crazy. Yet if you look at the New Testament, somebody said, I am the Messiah, and proved it. They're like, no, you're not the Messiah. And with us, we look at, we worship Satan. And we're like, no, you don't. You're just being ironic. Why are we so afraid to call something as it is? Why are we so afraid to confront it? Denying truth is emblematic of a declining people. Very emblematic. We see people who very clearly value satanic things, evil things, and we're like, no, you're just kids, you're crazy kids. No, because you see it everywhere. You think that cuckoldry is a great thing? Think that polyamory is some great thing? We'll get to that a little bit later. We think it's all fine and well. We think, oh, it's just a French thing. It doesn't matter that some people are doing it. What people do spreads. What people do, it grows. They take it to its extreme. Not as fast as others, not as quickly as others, but that's where it goes. We're extreme creatures. Let's go in another direction. Mercantilism. And this is not going to be a Jewish thing, no. It's going to be like an Anglo-Saxon thing. The Anglo-Saxon people are very mercantile people. We are descended from that. We who speak English, we belong to that lineage. White people in general, very keen on colonizing. Colonization and mercantilism created globalism. How well has that worked out for us? We've created a game for ourselves that we can't win. We took it to its extreme. We took this very wrong thing to its extreme, and now look. Now everybody's hitting the panic button. Oh shit. We've gone too far. Donald Trump will undo it, jamming that panic button, but the damage is already done. The moral damage resulting from this unchecked thing, the complete lack of restraint we have, has created more than one void, more than an economic void, more than a financial void. We've also created a moral void, which is a little more hard to quantify, but nobody's interested in what they can't quantify, what they can't put on a spreadsheet, what they can't spurg out over. Statistics, numbers, studies. So as I read this next one from CNN.com, keep that in mind, the colonial impulse. The colonial impulse. Now, here's a story from CNN.com by Tiffany App and Brian Todd. North Korea sentences U.S. student to 15 years hard labor. North Korea has sentenced an American student to 15 years hard labor after accusing him of removing a political banner in a hotel. The U.S. State Department fired back Wednesday, saying the punishment doesn't fit the alleged crime. These people have a very different view of law than we do. And this guy, he wanted to impose that view on people that have nothing to do with him. Nothing to do with him. These people live in isolation. No, you want to make a statement, man. I want to make a statement. Statement. I'm a very important 21-year-old college student. I study philosophy. Oh, no, I also took a queer theory class. They're very reliable people. What else? The sentence against University of Virginia student Otto Frederick Warmbier? I'm gonna call him Warmbier, dumbass. Hey, Warmbier, you're stupid. The sentence against him is unduly harsh, State Department spokesperson Mark Toner said, calling for his release. The United States urges North Korea to pardon him and to grant him special amnesty and immediate release on humanitarian grounds, Toner said. Warmbier had traveled to Pyongyang on a trip organized by Young Pioneer Tours, a China-based travel company. He was arrested on January 2nd, 2016, as he was about to board a plane to leave the country, on the charge of committing a hostile act against the state. The North Korean government alleged that Warmbier was encouraged to commit the hostile act by a purported member of a church in his home state of Ohio, a secretive university organization, and even the CIA. In court Wednesday, North Korean officials presented fingerprints, photos of a political banner, and surveillance images, proof, they said, that Warmbier committed crimes against the regime. The 21-year-old student pleaded for mercy. My brother and sister need me, he said. I beg that you see that I am only human. How I have made the worst mistake of my life. Warmbier was sentenced to 15 years hard labor. Greg Scarlatui, executive director for the Committee of Human Rights in North Korea. said he may be forced to work in agriculture, which happens with other American prisoners. He may spend his day planting apple trees. It will be fairly grueling forced labor. Warmbier declined to comment on his case. Now, some people say, well, it's North Korea, maybe they're not telling the truth. Look, this isn't the first time something has happened where they've accused some Americans of some shit, all right? And, as crazy as North Korea may seem, I don't think that they're crazy enough to risk an international incident over some dork. Who's trying to make a statement. So good riddance. And you know what? If you're North Korea, you're on the outside looking in and you're looking at how Americans behave. You don't want that for your own people if you actually care about them. What do I mean by this? Well, let me just say this. A lot of people have told me that my videos would make for good ISIS recruiting videos, like the Vine Marathons, Tumbleristas episodes. It'd make good propaganda videos for pretty much anything. For pretty much anybody, for any purpose that has to do with America bad, West bad, this is what they want your children to be. So this comes from the Anti-Pause subreddit, and they link to this polyamory subreddit thread. Therapist asked me what the difference between sex and love addiction and polyamory is. Ha 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 ha, oh god, why? Edit to answer questions/sentiments that have been brought up multiple times in one place. My response was that polyamory is about forming multiple loving romantic relationships, whereas sex and love addiction, really any addiction, is using an activity or feeling that is beneficial/harmless in moderation as a coping mechanism that becomes destructive to oneself and those around them. How is that mutually exclusive? That's what you're doing. Is it any wonder that North Korea is a little bit hostile to people that deviate from their rules in the slightest? No, I just want to have love, lots of my love. My heart's just too big for one person. Vomit. And there's more. It was completely out of left field. I had not brought up poly this session and was talking about sex and love addiction in reference to someone platonically close to me who is in recovery/attends SLAA. I don't know what that means. I also hadn't had my coffee yet, so I was definitely not as happy about answering this question as I would be in other circumstances. My primary reasons for seeing this therapist are unrelated to poly. Definitely unrelated to S and LA. It's like these people have this weird language all to themselves. And we're only 2 sessions in, so I'll give it another shot. Is using an activity of feeling that is beneficial/harmless in moderation. Oh, there's a harmless/beneficial aspect about heroin use. Heroin addiction is pretty common. No, but that's beneficial to begin with. Is it any surprise that North Korea is hostile towards Westerners and any perceived slights by Westerners, any perceived infiltration by Westerners? So, this comes from Slippery People in response to this thread on Anti-Pause. Serious answer, someone addicted to sex and love. This is a quote from the previous thread, I believe, by the way. Serious answer, someone addicted to sex and love would most likely lack the self-control to be upfront and honest about it, and to set and live with boundaries necessary to make polyamory work. Self-control? Sounds crazy, doesn't it? And this is where it begins. This is the part we need to pay attention to. Set and live with boundaries necessary to make poly. There are no boundaries. There's a reason why every successful civilization says man and woman. Man, woman, married, having children. You want to do that thing that makes your naughty bits feel good? Okay, get married. Okay, there you go. You have the safety net, you have the structure in which to operate that nonsense within, and society benefits from it. We would not have civilization if we did not have monogamy. Heterosexual monogamy. I mean, is it really that difficult? Is it really that difficult to say, yeah? You look at every pattern of behavior that leads to prosperous societies, that leads to safe, healthy societies. You look at it and you see that this one commonality that says, oh, yeah, monogamy. Which is why I don't get why people bitch about sexual double standards. I take 12 cocks in a week and I'm a slut. That's a double standard. You know, we do have one standard. It's called monogamy. Yet, you know, your novelty-seeking drug brain, it says, "Oh no, that's boring. I'm not willing to work on myself and make my behavior palatable to another human being. Another, you know, if you're a woman, adjust my behavior so that a man will put up with my bullshit when it eventually rears its ugly head." No, behaving is too hard. Oh, I just want to be a fucking idiot all the time, and I just want to have meaningless fucking whatever. This is what 90% of people think. Maybe that's an exaggeration. Maybe. But would you be surprised if it wasn't? So, from Slippery People, self-control sounds crazy, doesn't it? But you'll have to keep in mind that r/polyamory is a Potemkin village, a facade behind which lurks a choir of castrati men with 6-year-old girl levels of testosterone. Polyamory is a vehicle for self-deception, to trick the brain into believing a one-sided relationship with a selfish whore is a progressive, mutually beneficial vow of love, and totally not the most pathetic thing on earth. So when this guy says self-control, he's thinking about the mental gymnastics required in order that he not have to hang himself in a closet. Beautiful. Potemkin Village. We are walking Potemkins. We are a bunch of liars, aren't we? Our fellow Westerner, liars. Dysfunctional liars. Telling us, oh, we're fine, we help you. We're big helps. There's a proud Greek and Roman tradition of polyamory and boy love, physical comfort. He's my apprentice who gives me physical comfort. This is what people believe. You say Alexander the Great, I say John Wayne Gacy. The primary concern of most people is putting up a good show, a good appearance, a good facade, as was described here. And not only that, we want to engage in an anti-life, anti-God. We want to orient our lives around that which is antithetical to any sane structuring of life. Does anything matter to anybody? Do you not listen to this or look at this and say, you know, something's not right about that? There's not even a need to articulate what is wrong with this. Yet, we live in a time, a culture we've created for ourselves, where somebody has to make an argument against this stuff. And you say, oh, it doesn't matter. No, nothing matters except the, whatever. Insert bullshit thing here. Insert bullshit form of idolatry here. That's what matters to people. Fine. Facades upon facades upon facades. That's what it is. We want it all. We want the dysfunction, the short-term pleasure that sin provides. And we want it all while being praised and celebrated as just as valid. Just as valid as those who do the right things for the right reasons. It is unsustainable.